We're good to go. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call today's meeting, November 12th, to order at 9:30, please. And as we start with the consent agenda, actually, we'll do the land acknowledgement, pardon me. We acknowledge Athabasca County is located on First Nations Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 traditional territory. We respect and honor all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples' connection to these lands, their history, language, and culture. And we will look at 2.1, which is the approval of the agenda, and we'll start with the consent agenda. The items that must be discussed are 2.1, 4.1, 4.2, 7.4, 7.5, 8.2, 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, and 12.4. There are other items that were wish to be discussed that are being brought forward. 5.1, 7.7, 7.8, 10.1H, and 10.1E. Are there any other items that are?
Your voice is great. Could you go 7.7 and 7.8?
7.7, 7.8. Okay. Are there any other items that anyone would like to discuss? Councillor Hall, I see you're on the screen. You're okay? Okay. Move to approve. Any further discussion? All right. Those in favor? Aye.
Sorry, who made the motion?
I did, Mr. Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? 8-0. Thank you. Since we have our delegations 4.1, 4.2 coming in at a later time, we will turn to item 5.1 on page 50 of your agenda. So I asked to actually bring this forward mainly because of the amount of work that has gone into this. And I wanted to say thank you to administration very much for bringing this information forward for us to review. It's very much appreciated and thank you so much. I also wanted to mention as well that this topic will be coming back to the committee of the whole meeting through a resolution that we made CC 24477. So I'm assuming that will be coming back next week for further discussion. And if anybody would like to have further discussion.
I'll make motion to receive for information.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so the motion is to receive this report for information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? 9-0. Thank you. Next on our agenda will be item 7.4, which is page 66 of your agenda. And again, these, if I may begin, the reports that have been done for this and the amount of time that has gone into it is very much appreciated. Is there a motion?
Receive for information.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chamsick would like to receive for information. Is there any discussion? Or pardon me. I'm sorry. Thank you. Any discussion?
Being that there's only 55 participants who engaged in the survey, I don't think that the survey results are really statistically valid. It's less than 1% of our community. Was there an issue engaging with participants? Like, how did we advertise it? How did it get out there? Because 55 just seems really low considering I'd hope that 9 of them at least came from this room. So.
Through the chair, advertising was done through our normal online channels on the website, social media, newspaper. We also reached out to community groups and contact lists within the county. So we were hoping to have a higher uptake, but
Thank you. Counselor Capitani and Counselor.
I know it can, I like to look at the positive side is the people that did take the time to engage. Really, you know, or commend them. And then in the future, like I know myself, I personally ask people or sent it to people I know, but I think it takes more than just putting it in the paper and on a Facebook page. It does take word of mouth, and there's 9 of us. And if each of us got 5 people to do a survey, we would have got those results, right? So I think we just need to make maybe more of a goal for ourselves next time.
Thank you. Counselor Vince?
I also think that same way, I guess it reflects the same thing as when we went into our budget discussion, right? We sent it out there and asked people to respond, and what did we get, 53 or 55, virtually about the same amount. So it actually shows in communication. I guess we got to do something different. I don't understand how we can do anything different. We do it on social media, we do it in a paper, we do it on, I don't know if it goes on the radio, you know. So word of mouth, it just shows that there's a certain amount of people that are looking into it and certain that aren't. It's what do? You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink.
Absolutely. Thank you. Counselor Hall, I see your hand up.
I'm just wondering through the chair if administration can tell us what this cost.
It was $19.50 per survey,
I'm sorry.
$19.50 per survey.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? I know one thing, when we're looking at doing communications and sending out our request for communication, also the documents that we send out that other people are seeing, it would be great if we could have QR codes on absolutely everything that goes out so that people are able to immediately come back through. So I'm looking forward to seeing like that, something like that come forward. So if there's no, go ahead.
Could notification of a satisfaction survey go out with tax notices? That way, you know, everybody receives them.
That's mail out, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. All righty, if there's no further discussion, the motion from Councillor Wallach was that council discuss, or pardon me, to receive the report as information. To receive the report as information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? 9-0. Thank you. The next item up is 7.5, the internal communication survey results, which I believe are on page 86 of your agenda. All righty. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to receive for information.
Okay, thank you. That's from Councillor Capitani to receive from information. Is there any discussion? Councillor
I
Chan?
just think it's the same thing, you know, results are still pretty low, and it'd be nice to see that larger intake of everyone.
Councillor Capitani?
Sorry, I'm assuming that all, if not most staff were admin replied to this? No? Oh, by mistake.
I mean, either way, you know, some of it really wasn't overly surprising, and you know, I think that at the end of the day, we can do a lot better.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Well, I really appreciate. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted some clarification. A lot better at what?
A lot better. I think that, you know, there's obviously some things in here with some negativity that in our results that you know, we can do better as a county altogether.
A lot of things.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of things in here.
A lot of positive.
There is a lot of positives too. Sorry, I can't find my notes right now, and I apologize, but I do, you know, like, I just feel that, you know, it'd be nice to see some of the, like, for one of the things that I would like to see, the knowledge and strategies, you know, like on page 95 here, that, it is getting better and stuff. I just was hoping to see in this last year that things would be even more positive, but you know, I think we are working towards better things, you know, like, how do you feel, you know, in the organization and stuff? It's getting there, but I mean, I just want to, I hope staff and everything like that feels supported by us and supported by the council as well. Sorry, I
No,
got lost in my.
no, I
sorry.
appreciate that. If there's no further discussion, I know these reports and surveys, that are coming forward for me are extremely valuable. And I want to thank you very much for the work that you put into doing them, because it gives us an opening and a start, a baseline to start with that we can keep improving on. And I think that that's a huge positive in our organization, and I look forward to seeing them again. So thank you very much. So if there, go ahead, Councilman.
Just a question, the internal survey, was it done online or was it done like through letter form, like was it sent to everybody or?
Through the chair, it was all online, and it was sent to internal staff via our email system, and there was also QR codes on posters around the building and break rooms and places that staff would be meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, so I guess we need to vote to receive this for information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No opposed. 9-0. Thank you very much. Just have to grab. We are going to move past 7.7, 7.8 as our delegation has not arrived yet for this discussion. And we will move to 8.2 calendars, which is on page 161. All righty. Who would like to start? Counselor Chamzik?
I'm just, for the Farm Women's Conference on the 22nd. I know I will be unavailable, due to a celebration of life. And on the 29th, there is a Northern Lights Library System meeting.
Okay, Northern Lights on the 29th. Thank you. Counselor Cromwell?
Thank you. November 21, we need to add a Northern Lake College at 3 p.m. And then just making a plug for the community event calendar. On December 8th is the Wandering River Christmas Market.
Okay, we'll back that one up to December 8th for the events calendar. Okay. Okay. Is there anyone else? Counselor Wall?
November 25th, the Healthcare Retention Committee is at 10:30.
10:30. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I will add, let me see, we have a CEO and CAO read meeting with the town on the 21st at 1:30. We have a CEO and lunch with the AU on December 2nd. And if we can just throw out there for January, I know it's ahead of the time, but ALT January 17th at 9:30. Oh, and we also have a community transportation meeting on the 21st. I believe it's 9:30. If I'm not mistaken. We'll throw that out there, and if that changes, we'll let you know. And I think that's all that I have. No, anybody else? All righty. Move to approve Councillor Cromwell to receive the November, December calendars as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It'll be 9-0. Thank you. Then we move into reports. Boy, we're moving right along here this morning. 10.1H, or what did we, is yours before mine, Mr. Mins? Okay, 10.1E, pardon me. We may, for Mr. Mins.
I guess just regarding the Regional Water Services Commission meeting we had on November 1st and Councillor Hall, if you want to chime in anytime, go ahead. Just a couple of brief things. We had our AGM there and chairperson Councillor Dave Paholic and vice chair is now Councillor Pat Ferguson. So I congratulate them on their getting their chairs and yeah, then we moved on to the main agenda, which everything seems to be, Tantus came in for a in-person discussion regarding the county assets going over and what the commission kind of feels, which way they want to go, what they're trying to strive for, and that had a good meeting. Associated Engineering came in and online and through Zoom and did a little bit more on the asset governance and management. And yeah, other than that, just went through the budget a bit, trying to figure out where we should sit with possible water rates. That's going to be discussed again in December. And yeah, it was a good meeting. Anything you want to add in there, Councillor Hall, or?
I think you have it covered.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You bet.
10-1. Oh, good. Thank you very much. Missed that. 10.1H for the Athabasca Lion Trail Steering Committee. The minutes that are in are from the beginning of the year. I'll go through because this will be the last report for this year as we don't meet again until January. In 2024, the ALTSC, the Athabasca Lion Trail Steering Committee, held 5 meetings, accomplishing a great deal. Included in your agenda package, as I mentioned, are the approved minutes from March and May's meetings. September and November's minutes will be available once approved after our next meeting in January of the new year. Some of the highlights from the last few meetings. As I mentioned, there's quite a few, so I'll be fast as I can. The Athabasca Lion Trail 5 municipality MOU has been signed. Alberta TrailNet will be distributing copies to all municipalities. Alberta TrailNet are working on the RFP for the Minnook to Perryvale planning design work through the Active Transportation Grant. Public engagement will definitely be a part of this process. The Georges, or the MRM Bridge, as it's known, that is out on the town of Athabasca land, will be removed soon, with Athabasca Recreational Trails Association taking that lead. The funds for this work are coming from the Athabasca Lion Trail Steering Committee Municipal Grant Fund, and Alberta TrailNet are looking into suspension bridge options as a possible replacement, including the costs and possible grants. A letter of request from Alberta TrailNet will be coming to Athabasca County to renew the license of occupation, or the DLO, for the portion of the trail to the east of the Wilfong Bridge in Colleton that is on provincial land. Alberta TrailNet has appointed Sue Welk as their new executive director, as Linda Strong Watson will be retiring. She's put a great many years and a lot of work into what she's done with Alberta TrailNet. Linda's been bringing Sue up to speed with all of the provincial trail networks, as well as the Athabasca Land Trail Steering Committee workings. Kiosk signs will be updated as soon as changes are needed, and this kiosk sign required for the trailhead in Colleton is currently a work in progress with the the Alberta TrailNet sign designer, who is currently working on that. Funding will be coming from, again, the ALTSC Municipal Grant Fund for those kiosk signs. Easement identification is continuing. The 1909T road plan continues to be a guide. That is the original ALT surveyed map from 1896 when the Hudson's Bay Company built the trail at a cost of $4,000. Protection of the road plan is being discussed, including possible provincial historical designation. The action item list for all the municipalities continues to be a work in progress. This list is constantly under review for item relevancy, completed and new items. The Wilfong Bridge opening and sign creation discussions are continuing. Westlock is continuing with easement work in their jurisdiction. The Redwater Bridge to the Echo Lake Trail signage and easement work continues with funding coming from the Municipal Grant Fund. Sturgeon County will be adding the ALT history signage to the area that they identified as the original Athabasca Landing Trail that's going through a brand new subdivision, the Braun subdivision. So they're making sure to note that this is a really important piece in their subdivision. A motion in our November meeting also passed to obtain costs for a third party to review and update the master plan and the management plans. And again, the funds would be coming out of the municipal grant fund. Linda Strong Watson attended the biennial World Trails Conference in Ottawa, September 30th to October 3rd. There were 400 delegates. Trails continue to be an important topic in many countries as trails are becoming major tourism destinations around the world. Trails are bringing many benefits from economic to health equity. And the World Trails Network website is another great resource for people to dive into if they're wanting to learn more. The next World Trails Conference will be in Australia, which I think is amazing. The new ALT website is close to being launched, tentatively scheduled for the end of December 2024. So looking forward to seeing that. And not including, just as an update, not including the ARTA, which is the Athabasca Recreational Trails Association funding and volunteer contributions. The Athabasca County portion of the trail has benefited from $1,288,388 in funding. Total external funds generated as a result of the Athabasca Landing Trail Steering Committee activities with the support of Alberta TrailNet and the Government of Alberta have been $4,442,583. This does not include the $5 million plus for the Fort Saskatchewan underslung pedestrian bridge. So it's been an amazing feat that's been going on for this trail over the years. And the next meeting will be, as I mentioned, Edmonton, January 17th, 2024. I think that's all we have for reports, if I'm not mistaken, unless anyone else has anything they'd like to add, discuss. I have a motion to Councillor Cromwell. Thank you. Motion to receive the reports as information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 9-0, thank you. All right. Make a motion to go into closed.
Madam Chair, our delegations are here, so if council wanted to take a quick break and then
Recess?
reassemble, just a
Okay.
suggestion.
That's wonderful. Recess for 10. Thank you. Good morning. Hi, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We have Mr. and Mrs. Richards as a delegation. Thank you so much. We'll start with introductions. And so it would be to. You're right. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Ashton Anderson, Division 3.
Kelly Chamsick, Division 7, Prosperity at Moore areas, Grassland.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Here,
We'll start for you.
good morning, Rob Vince, Baptist Lake Island Lake.
Rochester Parish area, beautiful Division 1.
Good morning, Gary Cromwell, the far north, up to including Wandering River, a little bit more beautiful than down south.
We were just at Rochester on Monday. So Saturday, sorry, and it was pretty nice, sorry. Being that was my stomping grounds when I was that tall, okay? Sorry.
And my apologies. I got chatting with someone in the hallway. Natasha Kaptaniak, counselor for Division 2, Minnook, New Pine Creek and Collington.
And on Zoom, we have.
Brian Hall, elected in Division 4.
There's a screen you'll see also up here. Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm Tracy Holland Reeve and counselor for Division 5, which is east of Athabasca, Parkview, Amber Valley, Paxton areas. And if you'd like to go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. And it is a very beautiful day out there today, isn't it? We're so lucky. Okay, so first of all, I've never done this before, so if I'm off track or whatever, please let me know. Okay. Okay, so we're here to hopefully get River Meadows RV Park back to paying our dust control. Okay. They had been paying for our dust control, so, but it was stopped, so that's why we're here. All of the information that I have in my little thing I sent out that Leah put on. Thank you, Leah, wherever she is. What I did with it is I just put 1A, 1B at the bottom of it, just for quick reference. And anything that I have here is off your website. So I've just highlighted a couple things. So, and I wasn't sure whether I should give it all or a little bit, so I did it all. How's that? Okay, so in 2024, this past year, we went into, my husband went in to check on the dust control and just to ask if we could have if we could pay ourselves for 200 and the Riverview Meadows could be paying for 200 because the dust it's awful. You come down over a hill, it's topographical too. Okay, so it's awful. But at that point, he was told that that it was too late, they're not paying. And I guess I want to say that we were frustrated, angry, hurt, disappointed. You use whatever emotion you want, okay? But at that point, we talked to Jocelyn and she said that it was too late in the year and that just go with whatever. So I said, okay, that's what we did. Okay. And just in our defense, we did see your new dust policy, but it really doesn't speak to individuals. And I do have a copy of that at the very back of your pamphlet, just for reference sake, okay? And in our eyes, it was a done deal. They had been paying for it since the inception of it. So what changed? Okay. Just to set this straight, we have lived on, my husband's family has been on the property where we are currently residing for 110 years approximately, his grandfather, his uncle, and us, and we've been there since 1990. Okay. And close to the road, our house is way too close, but as I said, it's been there for a long time, okay? And there is a row of maples, there's a row of spruce, and we've, in the last few years, planted another row of spruce to help mitigate the dust. All right. So that's sort of my opening spiel, if that's all right. Okay, so attachment 1A is just a development permit. You've all seen them, you know them much better than I do, okay? 1B is just the River Meadows camping plan, what they're going to do, what they hope to do, that sort of thing. Again, read it at your leisure if you want. 1C is the actual laying out of their of where their sites are, okay? Which again is there. 1D, I did want to point out, though, 1D is just a further view of 1C. And if you follow, there's some funny little squiggles up here. One is a dwelling or a caretaking area, and the other larger squiggly type thing is their future development possibility plans. Okay. And then again, just 1E is an aerial view. And 1F is just off yours, the roads and how the roads go. Does everybody know where I'm going from, or do you want me to point it out? Do you want me to point out what we are?
I think it's pretty clear, but you can go ahead and.
Okay, well, it's just the darker triangular shape, and then the roads, and then the road curves up. Okay, and then we are the little dot that's kind of under Range Road, the sign, Range Road 222. It's just the little dot there. That's our house. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So next, I've got the notification letter. All right. That was just for public viewing. Okay, they're asking for the notification letter. Okay. And then on the next page, 2B, I have number 7 circled. And this is the permit from January 2020. The owner developer shall be responsible for dust control along the route if the county deems dust control is necessary during the operation of the development. Okay. At this point, we saw this in the paper, my husband and I, and as I said, we are way too close to the road and we know it, but that's life. So we went in and we chatted with whoever they pointed us to at that point in time. And they asked if we were newly living there. And of course, as I stated, we've been there forever. And then they asked if we had been doing dust control, and we basically been doing dust control on our road since the inception of it. Okay. So they said, yeah, sure. It looks like River Meadows RV Park will be responsible for your dust control. We said, great, okay, then we'll just kind of leave it alone. We didn't appeal or anything. We just said, fine, okay. Okay, and then the next page 2C is just numerous other information that needs to be put out, okay? Oh, and by the way, also I forgot to mention, I apologize, that we talked also at this point, when it was put out, we talked to the neighbor, Ron, who's the father of Heather and Roger, and he said, well, yeah, it's right there in the permit that we're responsible for it. So we said, okay, even great. Yeah, so we didn't argue. We just said, okay, fine. Okay, so 2C is just the information. Okay, and then just same with 2D, it's just some more general information, like I say, that can come off. Then we get to 3A. So my eyes glaze over when I look at this, okay? It's just a graph, and I'm a pictorial learner, I'll be honest. That's the way I learn best. So the next page, 3B, is basically a pictorial representation of what's on 3A, okay? So we asked for a traffic count. Because as I was talking to Jocelyn, she said that we needed to have something that was measurable. Okay, a traffic count is measurable, okay. And I came and so then we decided that we would do the traffic count at approximately the same time as it was done in 223. So I talked to Mackenzie Moss, I think her name was at that point, and she said, fine, she'd put us on the list, but it didn't happen. So the information we're using is from 223, not from this current year. Okay, but I could send you the information that I did, that I did ask, but it didn't happen. Okay. So when we're looking at the information, the graph, and just because there's space there, we're referring to the graph, and obviously it's pictorial. As I said, there's a little RV, and it says 105, starts from the RV, and then you follow it up. And then the numbers are, once you get through the curves straight up, is 169 on the one, and the next one up is 150 per day. So what I did to make my calculations easy is I took the 105 out of 150, and then it's 70% of the traffic on our road is from that. Or if you use the 169 number, it's 62% is coming from the RV park past our driveway. And I guess the other thing I wanted to point out is that we're on a dead end road. What goes by us comes back by us as it comes up. And during this point, I did email Camille, and Camille just said, refer to the policy. And I said, fine, which I did. And then she also said something in regards to agricultural, because you guys had a lengthy discussion, is what she, in her email, she told me it was a lengthy discussion back and forth, this way, that way. And due to the increased agricultural, and there is no agriculture. Well, that's a lie. There's one field below us, okay? Because we are on the way to the riverbanks. So we have the fields around us, and there is one field just across from our field down towards the river. Is that clear as mud? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. So, and then yeah. Okay, so those are the numbers. Yeah, we're dead end road. Okay. Oh, and then I took I like numbers. And then I took it to the logical extreme. They said there's 105 people coming, 105 originating from the campsite on a daily basis. And then I looked on the website, and it's from the May 1st to the end of September. And I did the calculations, and that is approximately 15,750 vehicles, if that was the daily count. It was just kind of interesting for me to look at. Okay. And we when this count was done, there was construction on our road. So I don't know if that would put it up or put it down. It was just like they came literally right by us last year. Thank you. But also in doing the construction, they took off any previous dust control that had been built up over the past, I can't even tell you how many years, 10, 12, whatever years. So the dust has been horrendous worse than normal in the last couple of years because of that. And I mean, that's fine. Construction has to be done. I'm okay with that, but it is what it is, right? Excuse me for a second. And okay, so then I'll go to my last thing, which is the dust control policy. And obviously you guys know what it says, but just on the back on the last page for me, I guess, it just has X, and that's what I've circled because that's why I'm here, because any discrepancy concerns over the dust control can be brought here. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. I also wanted to comment that the River Meadows does do a couple One For Sure event that's scheduled yearly. I apologize for my pronunciation, but it's the Kapawinka Wilderness Triathlon. And it's done, I think the first Saturday in September. And so there is many people going down on that day. And also, by the way, you guys support that. You guys donate money towards that as a council also. Okay, so that's, yeah, we actually had company on that day a couple years ago when there was dust control, a few years ago, I guess, and they said, we were sitting on our deck having coffee, and eventually the company just stopped, looked at us and said, what the heck is going on? Because it was just, because it's high times, but anyway, that's, and okay, some non-measurable things is, I guess, more dirt bikes, more quadding on the road, which we know is illegal, but it still happens. Speeding, well, of course, we know not everybody goes to posted 80 clicks. We all know that, okay? Some do 50, some do 100, so whatever. Okay. So in closing, I would like to say that I point out there was minimal agricultural use of that road below that use, that we are at a dead end road. What comes in must go out. That it was previously, as I pointed out in one of my first points, as part of their permit, and that it's either 62 or 70% of the traffic originates from the RV park. So, questions, comments, anything that I wasn't clear on? Sorry, never done this before.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I really appreciate the information that you brought forward. Are there anyone in the room have questions? Councillor Capitani?
Yeah, I just had a quick question of going back to the beginning of your presentation. You said you've lived in the residence since 1990 and that you yourself got dust control since the program's inception.
Yeah, and I can't tell you the exact date because I don't remember, but
That's
it's been
okay.
years.
That's okay. I'm just saying you got dust control before there was a campground there.
Oh, gosh, for years before.
Okay,
'Cause
thank you.
It is like, yeah, we have had it for, that's why we were a little concerned about when they ripped it all up and did the construction, but thank you for the construction of our road, but yes.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any further questions? Councillor Minson?
Mainly just a comment. Thank you very much for bringing this in. Bringing it to our attention. That means things are working. Actually, that people can come in and advocate for themselves and that. So that's great. That's I guess in some ways we come in there, we rebuild the road and make it smoother and everything, and everybody goes like Jack the Bear down there.
Faster. Yes, you have got, and you know what, and okay, so obviously we're older, okay, and our kids have grown up and left, and there's no school bus stop at our house. So the school bus sign used to be kind of on the hill, and then there's like and then you kind of come down gradually, like we're the start of the River Hills. So that used to slow them down too, but now that's gone also. But it should be gone, but we were very happy it was there.
Yeah, I drove that road many a time, so I know exactly what you're dealing
Oh,
with.
okay, thank you. So you can tell everybody the lay of the land if they want to know. Okay,
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
thank you. Thanks, Rob.
All righty, if there's no other further Councillor Grow?
Yeah, you said for how many years had they provided dust control?
Okay, so when it started, with the permit, we actually will admit that we did pay it the first year because they started late in the year, okay? But they did pay it for two or 3 years until they did the construction on the road. And then there was nobody paid it because they were doing construction, so there's nothing happening. And then, as I said, the next year, this year when we went in to try and get that extra, which we would really, really like, they hadn't paid for it. So I don't know what happened or what changed, but in previous years, we had gone checked just because it's important to us. well, put it this way, I can write on my vehicle every day of the summer when I come outside.
So they're currently providing 200 meters and you were looking for an additional 200 meters?
Oh, I would
Well-
love, well,
What was-
Well, we would just like to have them to pay at least 200 meters.
Okay,
And then we would like to ourselves extend it, but we want them to pay the initial 200 meters.
they had been for a number of years.
They did for, when was this? They were open for 3 years, I believe, since the construction. And they paid for 2, we paid for the first.
And did you say that you'd had conversation with them and they said that it
Yes.
wasn't a problem this year?
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
well, no,
not
no.
this year. That was originally when the permits came out.
Okay, yeah, now I understand it, I think, thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Hall, I see your hand up.
Yes, I just want to clarify, did you purchase dust control prior to 2020? Like prior to 2020, did you make use of the dust control program?
Yeah, and then this, yeah. Yeah,
So
ever
prior
since,
to the campground being there, the road was dusty enough that you felt it necessary to have dust control?
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, we don't have it, we told Natasha, we were there, I don't know, probably 8-10 years. I don't know, how long has it been in service?
That's control.
Dust control been in service? I don't have an exact date.
Dust control's been in service since probably for a good 31 that I know of, 35 years.
Okay, well, no, we have not had it for that long, because
Yeah.
I guess we did not realize as county citizens that we could at that point get it, but we been putting it on there for
Since we got there.
1990.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, I distinctly remember spraying dust control at your guys' place, trust me. For many years.
And we thank you for it. How's that? Sorry.
That's
I'm-
okay. Counselor Hall, is there any further question? Oh,
The last one was really, have you talked, like, you're coming to the county asking us to use the big stick and force your neighbor to do something. Have you just talked to them already and asked them if they'd be willing to pay the $200?
Well, considering that's what they originally told us and they did do it for a while and then they stopped. And they could have come to us this year, this 2024 too. It goes both ways.
So you haven't talked to them this year?
No,
Okay,
not
thanks.
this year.
Appreciate you coming in and sharing this with us.
Thank you.
all righty. Any other questions? Okay, it doesn't look like any further questions. I want to thank you very much for your presentation and for coming in today. And it's always great when we have delegates coming in and bringing their issues forward. So I really appreciate that. We will be bringing this back further in our agenda to discuss further. But we do have another delegate coming in at 10:30 first. You're more than welcome to stay in the gallery if you so wish, or you can always tune in on YouTube and see the live stream for yourself.
Okay, so you will be discussing this on your own later on is what I'm.
Correct.
Okay, and when will you notify us?
The minutes, I believe, once the minutes are approved and out, and I'm not really sure exactly how it's all going to play out, so
Okay,
we will have that, pardon me? Yeah, it'll be in the minutes online for sure, and if there's any other further need to get in touch, definitely, I'm sure administration will do that.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much for
time.
coming.
And I'm so sorry that all of you guys are stuck in here on this lovely day. Large, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the coffee.
Thank you so very much. I think we have a few minutes before our next delegate, if we could go into recess for till, I guess it would be 10:30. I keep looking at that clock going 11:30, but it's 10:30. Thank you. All right, are we ready to go? We're ready to go again. Thank you. We were up for 4.2 for a delegation. However, the delegation has not arrived. So we will continue. 7.7, dust control delegation item number 4.1, page 147 of your agenda. Is there a motion, Councillor Capitani?
On 7.7? That's right.
Page 147?
I've got it together. Mr. Gerlach was distracting me. Yeah, he's so distracting. Sorry, I would just like to make a motion to receive the delegation as information.
Okay, thank you. Is there discussion?
Take the last.
Thank you. Through the chair to administration, the delegation made no mention of the Tanglewood Ridge subdivision. Were there any development stipulations during that subdivision that they would have to pay for dust control for the neighbors down the road? Or is it simply with the RV park?
Just specifically with the RV park, there's none in Tanglewood that would be required to pay for dust control.
Thank you.
Anybody else for discussion? All righty. Councillor Mintz?
Just a question. Trying to go back to when we discussed dust control last time and trying to figure out, did we take, I guess in the dust control policy, the old policy, did it have anything to do with having these RV parks on there? Or like as a request through the dust control application? Do they have to pay for it or is it through the permit?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll let Director Wilkinson chime in also, but I think it was applied to most, if not all, campground operators as a condition that they would be required. It's a very consistent wording of requiring dust control at it says at the discretion of the county, I think, as it's worded, but it's been applied to almost all campground applications. And it only became through your last policy review that it became a question mark because it was specifically deleted from the dust control policy. Is that fair, Director Wilkinson?
Yes, it's a consistent condition on most, if not all campgrounds. I mean, I can't speak to really, really old ones, but certainly in my time here, it's been a consistent condition and the policy it referred to the policy. And I mean, we in our department even talked at times about how we didn't really have to make it a condition because the policy looked after it, but we always make it a consistent condition of this type of development.
Councillor Capitanic, if you're.
Yep. And I can see how that could have been something that was important in past, but as we know, things change, things build, and more residents are living on that road. And I would think that numbers can be skewed and looked at in different ways, and a traffic count one day may not reflect a traffic count another day. So we can't assume that 7 days a week it has the same traffic. People pull their RVs in. They leave them there for the season, some for the full year in many campgrounds. And if you are camping, I can't assume that you're, I don't want to make assumptions, but if you're driving to town once a day to get food or snacks, I think that would be the most you would be doing. With there being a subdivision down there and potential for growth, I think that it's clear that the requirement of a campground to pay for dust control seems really pinpointed and unfair, because I don't believe we require it of other industries or other subdivisions or private areas that could potentially have more usage. And it really is clear to me in this situation, this specific situation, that this home is on a road that is dusty, that the owners mitigated that dust on their own with no problem for many years until all of a sudden they got the bonus of a campground on the road. So they got a few years of reprieve. That's the way I see it. That's the way I think that encouragement of economic growth. We want to see events. We want to see people bringing people from other communities into our community, not just to spend money in our stores, but potentially look at, moving their families here from urban areas or retiring. I think penalizing businesses that do that is actually hypocritical of us as a council, because we're sitting here often trying to find ways to encourage people to bring economic growth and people into our communities, and to turn around and say, but if you do, you got to pay this $200 and you got to pay this $200 and you got to pay this $200. It really is disheartening. And I think that what we were doing was going the right direction and saying everybody gets 200 meters. So there's no extras. I like that part of our policy that we arranged, and that we can't penalize one industry because they bring people into our community. It's a gravel road. If you live on a gravel road, it's dusty. It's $200. Just put the dust control down.
Mr. Wallach?
The one thing I would, if we ever brought this policy back, I would like to see that people can pay for extra dust control at cost. I did have quite a few complaints about that this year, but that's all I have to say for this.
Thank you. Councillor Champson?
I do agree with that, actually, both statements, because I did get a couple of residents asking if they can do that purchase. And also remembering that if you're in an angled and in a corner lot, that you have the ability to purchase on both sides. Yep.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment? Any questions, concerns?
Well, I'm a little bit confused. Does the policy state it is required that they provide dust control, or is that optional?
Madam Chair, I think the policy is attached, and I'll try to flip to the page, but I think the RFD specifically outlines from Leah that it was in the previous policy, and that section was taken out, I believe. Yeah, so if you look at page 147 of your agenda, it says that in discussion.
So the chair, so then it's not being charged, or all RV parks are not required to do that any longer.
I'd have to look into that. That's why I think the recommendation in the report was for you to receive it for information and
Okay,
bring it back with a report containing all that information. So
good, thank you.
In that case, would you like to put an amendment to the current motion, which is just to receive for information? Would you like administration to bring further information? So, I'm sorry. Okay, well, it was the recommendation. Okay, so a friendly amendment. So the motion now will be to receive the delegation for information and to direct administration to gather further information and present it at an upcoming regular county council meeting. Is that it?
I'd like to see a vote on the amendment, please. Separate.
Okay, hang on. I've had two people speaking. Can Councillor Capitani, I'm sorry.
So I was just gonna ask, could it come back to a cow meeting so we could have a longer discussion?
Okay,
Would that be okay? And then I think Councillor Paul wanted to split the amendment, which is fine.
okay. So you would like to vote on that amendment, Councillor Hall? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think there's nothing to bring back in terms of this specific request. You know, the one of the final statements that the road was dusty enough before the campground that they required and paid for their own dust control speaks all we need to know. If we want to bring the policy back later, this is not the mechanism to do it. And I don't even understand what further information we'd be asking admin to do and why we would send them on a sort of an open-ended information gathering search. I think if we want to talk about it, we should have something specific that we want from them. And so I think the original motion is adequate, and I would certainly be opposed to asking administration to do more work. And in part because it derails them again from the real core tasks that we've asked them to do. We're now creating a sideshow for them to go spend more time chasing their tail on a settled issue.
Thank you, Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. Though I agree with Councillor Hall's first statement that I do agree, they made the case from themselves that they had to pay for and take care of their own. And they should be responsible enough to ensure that things are taken care of, and it is not fair to arbitrarily place it onto a campground. In my area, have many roads that are inundated with campgrounds and very few residents, and we're doing things a certain way. But I believe that in bringing it back, we can look at things like that. What is a maybe, what is a must, and make the policy a little bit more clear so that we can avoid future occurrences where people come in and go, well, it can go this way or it can go that way, and firm up our policy that much more. So I definitely support the motion, the amendment as written. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chamzig.
Yeah, I just have a question. I wonder if, you know, the staff or our front desk and administration has any possible data or complaints, you know. I think in the past, we've asked for some sort of direction in the past of if there is complaints, like whether it be with the 200 extra meters purchase, if they would have any of that information or not.
So I guess that
To bring it back.
that would be information you would want to come back to see. Okay, all right. Councillor Capitania, one more round. Sorry? Well, you definitely were going to be voting on the amendment first, so would you like to have a conversation?
I agree with Councillor Hall that I don't think that we need to bring information back. Because I don't feel that there's any changes that we're going to make to this policy this year with the work that we have on our plate, and that it is, I believe, good as it is. We did a great job on it. But I am going to vote to bring it back to Cal. Because I do want to show the Richards the courtesy of having that conversation. It's sometimes we may think that, okay, we don't need this right now. Yes, I mean, we know you have 100 things to do, but sometimes it just takes that little bit of a courtesy to say, you know what, we are going to look a little deeper into your concern. And that's what I think we should do.
Oh, sorry, was that off? Sorry. We will be looking at the amendment to vote on. Please correct me if I have this wrong. The amendment is to direct administration to gather further information and present it at an upcoming committee of the whole meeting. Is that accurate? Councillor Anderson?
Clarification, what information are you expecting them to bring back?
I think as it was discussed here, a round table, we would like to have another look at the policy, if I'm not mistaken. We would like to determine how that applies to the different commercial entities that we have in our county. And if that is still sufficient, Councillor Cromwell?
And I think part of the information in my mind, and sorry if I wasn't clear about that, would be just to know what kind of complaints, what kind of feedback administration has received from policy implementation up until today's date. Not taking the last minute ones that are going to be popping in now that we've talked about it, but bring that information back there. That is the way that we talk about and realize if we are doing the right thing for the ratepayer or not, by what comes back into administration that we may not hear about. It could be very simple that our admin assist for infrastructures maybe didn't write it down, but said, I've had maybe 25 complaints about blank, just something that we can have a number on or an idea on. And then like Councillor Capitanic said, give it a fair and honest around the table.
The reason I asked the question is because if it is a change in policy where RV parks are not required to do this anymore, one would have expected that there would have been more complaints than just the one we heard today. That was the only reason why I asked the question.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mintz?
Yes, I agree with Councillor Gerlach. Information, another part of the information would be we changed the policy to state that it's to take commercial operators out of there, and yet still in our development permits, we're saying that you have to do do the dust control. So we have some conflicting information there or conflicts, so we need to straighten up. And also, I want to remind everybody, this is actually the time to start talking about this policy, not in May. We need to talk about this policy 6 months prior to dust control actually being applied. So at the same time, if there's anything that administration kind of wants to tweak on this policy at the same time, now it's time to talk about it. Not in May. It's like talking about snow removal in December. No. Let's talk about it now if we're going to, and the committee of the whole is perfect.
Alrighty. I agree. I think the more information we have, the better. It's how we make really informed decisions, and if there's something that needs to come to the table, now is the time as well. Pardon? Oh, thank you very much, Councillor Paul.
I just would like to bring to the attention that this policy was approved in the 2024 calendar year. And it seems like the amendment is an attempt to bring back a discussion on a question that's already decided. And so I'm not even sure that it makes sense to process it as an amendment, rather a standalone motion that you should have a motion of reconsideration in advance of. We're rethrashing old straw. And so it might be better to just kick that forward to somebody else's agenda, or like make a note of it and bring it back to the table post-January.
Well, I believe that we do have the amendment has been read. It's on the table, that we need to vote on that. So if
So can you just explain how, please, Chair, how it aligns with 13.5 of the bylaw for all of our benefit?
I'm sorry, would we need to take a moment to do a check onto the procedural bylaw? Is that what you're asking for?
Well, it's a reconsideration of a motion that's already been decided. You need a 2/3 vote, in my view.
Well, I don't know if we're actually reconsidering a motion other than we're asking for information on what the response is on the policy that has been passed, and whether or not that's something that we should be looking further into. So I don't believe we're reconsidering the motion that you're mentioning. However, I do think that we're asking for further information and the results of any information that's come forward regarding the policy and how it has implemented and how it has affected people. If I'm accurate, Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. I completely agree. We're not talking right now about changing the bylaw. We're talking about gathering information and talking about it. And I do not believe that is a error on our policy, or it goes against our procedural bylaw. So I think we need to call the question.
Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, we will go ahead and vote on that amendment to direct administration to gather further information and present it in an upcoming committee of the whole meeting. All those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And opposed?
Aye.
And 2 opposed. 7-2, that carries. So to go to the main motion, to receive the delegation for information and to direct administration to gather further information and present it at an upcoming committee of the whole meeting. All those in favor? That's 7. And opposed?
Aye.
And 2, 7 and 2, that carries. Thank you very much. And I believe that brings us to the end of our May. We go into now number 12. So is there a motion to go into?
So moved.
Closed? You beat you to it. Deputy Reeve Mins, thank you. Going into closed session, all those, pardon me? Oh, it's just over there. Sorry. I know. All right, so we'll go into closed session at 10:50. It will. Fun was on. Thank you for that. We've just come out of closed and we will have our in closed motions come forward. So 12.2 Counselor Cromwell would like to direct administration to send a letter of confirmation as discussed in closed. All those in favor? It's 8. Any opposed? That would be 8 and 0. Thank you. 12.3, Counselor Anderson would like to direct administration to draft a fire services billing policy for council to review at an upcoming committee of the whole meeting as discussed in closed. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That would be 8 and 0. Thank you. 12.4, Counselor Cromwell would like to direct administration to obtain a legal opinion as discussed in closed. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? 8 and 0. Thank you. And if we can get a motion to adjourn. Counselor Gerlach. All those in favor? Assuming no opposed, 8 and 0. Thank you very much.